What is going on, guys? Ninja Nick back with another round of this league challenge at Flipside Gaming in Clifton Park, New York. We have myself here again on the left with Gardevoir EX and our opponent, I believe, I'm so bad at remembering names, Luke on the right, with Miraidon. And we did play him before. He is a bit of a newer player, and if anybody remembers the match where I went against Mew and used Sableye without 10 in the Lost Zone, then gave my opponent the win as soon as I realized that, and then we tried to rewind the game state just for the camera. Yeah, that was this guy that I played against. So trying not to screw up this time, as I've been doing a lot recently. I think I just need to play more, honestly. I'm just getting so rusty. I play so often, but every time I play, it's a championship point event. Like, I play in like 3 league challenges a week sometimes. But like, that's it. So I'm just prize checking here. I'm trying to identify what is in there. I do actually like forget what's in my hand. That's the thing with prize checking, is like I always forget what's in my hand, so then I'll write down what I think's in my prize cards, and then some of them are in my hand. So I do actually do that. I write down Super Rod and Boss as cards in my prize cards. Because I usually check the Pokemon, I check the energy, then I check the supporters and the Super Rods. And Boss Super Rod are currently in my hand, and there's a Boss Super Rod in my deck. So yeah, so now I'm crossing those two off of there. Zacian start is pretty horrible for me. I'm gonna level ball for just 1 Ralts, and that's all that I can do for this turn because my hand is pretty pathetic. You can see I have 2 Shining Arcana Gardevoirs, an energy for turn, the Super Rod. I have an Ino for next turn, so if I was going second, maybe it would have been a little bit better. But you always want to go first. With every deck, in every matchup, you always want to go first, pretty much. And of course, our opponent here is playing Miraidon. He's contemplating playing the Professor's Research. Oh, and I do go for the Sword as well, so that I have a potential retreat. If I have a way to maybe get to Mirage Step on this next turn, I could attach to the Ralts, evolve it into the Mirage Step Curlia, and get 3 refinements out of my deck. If I even have that many in there. I think I prized 1 refinement during this game. And yeah, he's really contemplating whether or not he wants to play this research. We talked about it afterwards. It's almost always correct. Even if you're discarding like some pretty relevant resources, if you can't do anything without playing that research, you have to just go for it. Even if you're like, say your opponent has like a 0-card hand, and playing the Ino to get yourself a playable hand would give them a new hand of 6, you still got to go for it, because if you're not doing anything to try to hinder your opponent, like they could always top deck like the best card in their deck. Like they could have a 0-card hand and top deck research. So like whether you Ino them or not doesn't matter. So always make sure that you are as set up as possible. If you have to lose some resources to do it, so be it. At least you're still in the game. So because he did do that, he is able to find this Miraidon EX to put onto the bench. We are also going to see this Nest Ball is going to find the Squawkabilly EX so that he can get even more draw this turn. So we are going to see the Miraidon's Tandem unit now is going to find a couple of bench Pokemon. Because he already has at least 2, he already has 2 Lightning Energy in the discard pile. He could actually go for second Mareep, and that wouldn't be that bad here, because knowing that I have the Zacian in the active, he's going to kind of want to race to charging up this Miraidon to attack on the next turn so that he could one-shot that. So I really like the grab of the second Mareep here. Usually a lot of players don't go for the second Mareep. But he did also discard 1 electric generator off that research, so You know, the more ways you can get lightning energies into play, the better. He did not prize any of his Mareeps or Flaffies this game. Usually they play a 2-2 line, so that's not too bad finding that. And looks like our opponent did leave one card left, but I'm just going to cut the deck and just put it back where it was, where it belongs. So we are going to see a Bravery Charm come down to the Raikou. I don't think that matters too much right now. And we are going to see a Squawk and Seize is going to get rid of a Raichu V. So that's pretty great for me because Raichu is a way that the Miraidon deck can one-shot my out-of-range Pokemon like the Gardevoir EX that are out of the 220 range. We do see an Electric Generator as well. We'll get one more energy to the Raikou V. And there is also a Escape Rope in hand from him as well. So he's going to play the Escape Rope here. That will put the 2 Energy Retreater Zapdos to the bench. And make it so that my Ralts is forced up. And he will be able to take the knockout on my Ralts with the Raikou. And then the best thing I can do in response after that will just be attach 1 energy to the Zacian, which will only allow me to hit 150, which is a 2-shot whether he has the Bravery Charm or not. So maybe the Bravery Charm could have gone to something else, just because like maybe he could expect to get 2-shot by the Zacian. But either way, that first Bravery Charm on the Zapdos was pretty good because that did make it so the Zapdos is not in range of the 150 knockout, which is kind of crazy. So I actually really like the Bravery Charm on that Zapdos. It would have just been discarded from that first research anyway, but I'm going to go for my own INO here. I am able to play a supporter now since it's no longer turn 1 of the game. And I really still, to this day, hate the change to the rules that they made at the beginning of the Sword and Shield format, where they changed it so you couldn't play supporter cards turn 1. I still hate that they did that. I think that they could have just not created a card like Marnie and left the rules the same, and it would have been fine. Because there are just a lot more non-games that happen because you weren't able to play a supporter card turn 1. So like for me, I couldn't play INO turn 1 because it was the first turn of the game, but I could have even given my opponent a better hand, you know, and myself a better hand, and I could have gotten set up and he could have gotten set up. Maybe he wouldn't have had to waste that one Electric Generator and the Forest Seal, like, you know, like he didn't want to. Players could bench Pokemon before starting the game because right now there's no reason to. So I just hit for the 150. Nothing much else I can do here. I just find one more Ralts to put onto my bench. And I have, I think it's a Research and a Worker or something in my hand right now. Nothing super relevant. I just got 2 cards here. So there's an attach for turn to the Miraidon EX on the bench. An Ultra Ball is going to get rid of a Switch card and another Lightning Energy. This will most likely be going for the Flaffy. I, you know, have Future Sight since I was already in this game, so I do know what he's going for, but makes the most sense to go for the Flaffy. That's all that you can really put into play right now, is you want to get those 2 Flaffies. Those would charge up that Miraidon EX. You could retreat into it and take the knockout on my Zacian V in the active. I could have always retreated my Zacian into the Ralts to prevent the 2-prize knockout on this turn, but then I lose my only Ralts again. So, would not have been very good for me. I'm basically just hoping he doesn't have it. Path to the Peak comes down as well. If I find Rare Candy, Gardevoir EX, that's no longer a way to take the knockout on this Raikou in the active, if it does stay there. And we are going to see a research is going to find another electric generator, which does hit another energy. So we are going to be able to get that energy into play on this Miraidon here. And I believe he also has an Ultra Ball, so he's going to be able to Ultra Ball for another Flaffy here after this as well. And there's really nothing I could do. You could see me pitifully shuffling my 2-card hand of 2 supporters because not much I can do. These are... I have so many non-games like this. This is why I went like 3-3-3 in Pittsburgh. People come into my comment section and they're like, well, just play better. Like, don't just say that you bricked every game. It's like, what do you call this? How do I play Zacian Pass better? It just happens, man. Pokemon is a lot less of a game than it used to be, in my opinion, just because of the fact you can't play a supporter turn 1. Although it is better of a game because when I did start playing, you could also attack turn 1. So it's better that you can't attack turn 1, but it's worse that you can't play a supporter turn 1. Although it's better and expanded that you can't play a supporter turn 1 because now you can't Wally into Trevenant, which was pretty toxic. So, yeah, we do see the second Flaffy is going to Dynamotor as well to that Zapdos. Zapdos is a pretty good attacker against the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. If you have 2 Psychic Embraces, you one-shot them. So, gonna one-shot the Zacian, go down to 3 remaining prize cards. My top deck is a Reversal Energy, something that I would have loved to save for a Brainwave turn, but of course we are not going to get there. So what we are going to do instead is attach that to my Ralts, research, and hopefully find something playable here. We don't really have to replace the stadium right now, because we are not going to find a Gardevoir EX more than likely here. We do bench 2 Ralts. Pretty good. Pretty good. And now I have an Ultra Ball. And what do I discard? I have a Gardevoir EX, a Super Rod, an INO for next turn, which will be really good. I really want to keep the INO. And then we have a... So what I want to discard here is the Artisan and the INO. But then I realized, well, I need the out to the Path to the Peak. So then I think about it and I'm like, well, actually, I need the INO for draw next turn as well. And also to put my opponent at a 2-card hand. So I actually have to Ultra Ball away Gardevoir EX Super Rod. Like, it's 100% has to be done. So now we are going to go for Mirage Step. Now, had I been maybe 1 more turn ahead, I think this game is still in a winnable condition for me because getting the Mirage Step here is still really good. And I'm only going to Mirage Step for 2 Curlia because one of them is prized, of course. Again, would normally be fine. Also, I'm using a Reversal Energy to Mirage Step. Like, how bad is that? Like, again, how do you play this better? How do I win this game when my opponent is ahead 3 prize cards because I just bricked? All day Pittsburgh, I was drawing like this. I'm actually considering not going to Toronto now. Everybody from my hotel, like, dipped. My last person that was going with me dipped last second, so I'm currently doing a 6.5-hour drive alone to stay myself at a $300 hotel. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then I also have to pay for the upgrade to my phone so that I can have service while I'm in another country. And yeah, of course, he just takes the knockout with the Zapdos, because he can. It's pretty good against Curlia's there. So I'm going to put the Artisan down to replace the Path to the Peak. That has not moved out of play yet, but I will fix that in a moment. We're going to Artisan for quite literally anything, just to get it out of our deck, maybe draw some better cards. I do have Manaphy, which I'm getting with the Level Ball, and then the Artisan I'm going to do immediately afterwards. I'm going to use to grab the Mew. I do not want the Manaphy in hand. I'm just using the Level Ball for that to thin the card out of my deck. And I'm going to INO after this. The only card going back into my deck will be the Mew. Now, if I was maybe able to somehow, by a miracle, knock out the Raikou V, I'd be at 4 prize cards remaining. And then this turn, like, boss Squawkabilly and take a knockout. And then after that, like, boss Miraidon and take a knockout. Or some combination thereof. Then I could win the game. But I still have all 6 prize cards left. So even if I get like a really good attack here, all that I'm doing is opening up a bench spot for my opponent to put down a Raichu. And I don't really have a response to a Raichu when my opponent has 2 prizes remaining. Because any one of their 3 Pokemon are basically fully powered up here. The Raikou has 2 energies attached. The Miraidon has 2. Just needs an attached return or one of the 2 Flaffies to power it up. There are 2 lightning energy in his discard pile. As you can see, he has those beneath the discard pile, actually. I'm using my only 2 refinements to try to get something going at all. And I think here, maybe I should have evolved my active into Gardevoir EX and my bench into Shining Arcana, but that feels kind of weird, so I think I did it the opposite way if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I attack with the 1 prizer here. I think it might have been better to attack with the Gardevoir EX, in all honesty, in hindsight, because I could take 1 prize. My opponent has no Pokemon in play that could one-shot my 2 prizer. He would have to get exactly Raichu V off of his 2-card hand that I Ionoed him into and his draw return. And if he got the Raichu, I mean, he just wins anyway, so. Yeah, I definitely should have evolved the active into the Gardevoir EX, but again, I don't think it's going to end up making a difference. I'm just trying to thin some cards out of hand with this Ultra Ball here. I'm going to Level Ball for the Manaphy again that was on the bottom of my deck. My opponent does get confused for a second. He's like, wait a minute, didn't you already get rid of the Manaphy? I'm like, I Level Balled for it and then Ionoed it to the bottom. And he goes, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to Level Ball for the Manaphy again, just to Ultra Ball it away. Along with the Mew the Mew EX, I don't think the Mew is going to do anything relevant in this game right now. But yeah, I'm still too far behind in prize cards. Again, if this was a best of 3, I would have scooped far long ago. But I have to do anything and just maybe hope my opponent just misplays so I have a chance to still win the game. That is the downside of playing best of 1. I was previously playing the kind of Tord-like list where I had the Forest Seal and Luminion in it, but I cut it for like, I think it was like 4th Level Ball and the Mew EX. And in hindsight, I'm thinking that the Luminion is just correct to use. I don't think that the strength of the Mew EX is really worth the consistency loss, because there were a couple of times during this tournament where I really wished I could have just turned my Ultra Ball into a boss's orders. So I'm going to use Psychic Embrace, load up my active Gardevoir with some energies, take my first prize card. 20 minutes into the game. Yeah, love to see it. So we do see the promotion of the Raikou V, and all my opponent needs to do is find Raichu, and he has me in sort of a checkmate position. He's going to research again, getting rid of Arven and Iono. He could have used Iono, he could have used Arven. And maybe you consider using your tandem unit first to get the Raichu out to put on the bench. So that then maybe you don't draw into it. But it's still fine either way. It doesn't really matter. So we are going to use our first Flaffy, charging up that Miraidon EX. And he's also got an electric generator. So, if he does bench the Raichu V here, what he needs to do, and he's going to use one Flaffy on that as well, Dynamotor. So, he'll knock me out, go down to one remaining prize card, and the only way I can knock out Raichu V is with either a Zacian that I heavily damage and can be knocked out, or a Shining Arcana Gardevoir, which also is just a one prize card and has low HP. So if I were to attack with my highest HP Pokemon, the Gardevoir EX, I will be 10 short of knocking out the Raichu even with a boss's orders. So if my deck played something like Vitality Band or Defiance Band, I would actually be able to take the knockout on the Raichu and still be able to potentially live a turn as long as my opponent doesn't have exactly boss on the next turn. And it doesn't look like he has a hand right now, but it's just off to the side, off camera, face down. But he does have a hand, so if he just has boss's orders, even if I had that correct combination of cards available to me, it still wouldn't do much of anything. So I do rare candy into another Gardevoir. Yeah, there's his hand. So he doesn't have a boss right now, but there's no way I can fit like Vitality Band or Defiance Band into the deck. It's just, I already tried. I tried Defiance Band when the deck first became legal. It was really good when it was good, and it was really bad 99% of the time, so. Oh, my cat is coming to visit. Hello, Sunny. Fist bump? Fist bump? No? I always like put my hand out for a fist bump and then she rubs her face on it. So, like, pound it? Oh, she's doing it to my knee right now instead. Okay. Makes sense. Thanks, Sunny. Oh, she used her bathroom. That's why. I get a text message every time her litter robot goes off. That's why you're extra lovey right now, because you just went potty. And yeah, I'm conceding the game and we're talking about it. So yeah, I told him, like, when I picked up that Gardevoir, I'm telling him, I'm like, my only way to win is to knock out your Raichu with this. And it's not possible. So I just extend the hand and I fist bump, and that is the game. So, I am going to play this guy one more time afterwards, but he's going to play a different deck. He's playing what he calls his meme deck, his fun deck. And I thought it was really interesting, so I actually did record it. And it's a really cool game, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's actually Hisuian Zoroark Dodrio. And yeah, the match does not go how you expect. As always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time for the unofficial round 5, the round 4 rematch. I'll see you guys then.